Good morning, Martin. Good to speak to you again. How are we doing?
I'm good, thanks, Dave. Everything okay with you?
Yes, so mate. So we're just continuing the last of our short little punchy conversations to give people a lot of tips and tactics and strategies to start to get over their addictions and start to lead healthier lifestyles and be better versions of themselves. The last thing I want to touch on, and we touched on it a little bit towards the end of the last conversation that we had, was looking at a higher power, looking at a little bit of spirituality, depending on whether people refer to God or some higher meaning, higher purpose. Throughout our conversations over the last few months, the big theme has been about honesty and being honest with yourself and honest with other people, honest with your emotions. And I think the last thing I want to really talk about is at the end of the day, you've got to learn to forgive yourself when you're going through these, through your addiction, through your rehab. You're trying to reconcile with family, loved ones, but it all comes back to you. It's about you at the end of the day. So it might be a big topic. It might be too big to discuss in this short segment, but how do you start to go on to forgive yourself?
Okay, it is a massive topic, and for me, it's a lifelong project. That because we and by the way, whether or not you're suffering from addiction or whether you're just walking the earth, you've got to learn to do this. Because going back to what we said in the previous podcasts, we're not always going to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
We will make mistakes. For me, the big thing for me is identifying and understanding the fact that what's happened 20 seconds ago, we can't do anything about. We can't change. What we can change is what happens in the next 20 seconds. And
Yeah.
again, that's common sense stuff to me and you. But on the back of my little business card, I think I've told you this, it says, to live in the past is to die in the present. Um,
Yeah.
and what we and that will suck you back in, and that will, whether that's sucking you back into drinking drugs, whether it's sucking you back into to gambling or whatever it is, or whether it's just sucking you back into being not the best version of you, and not the person you want to be. So for me, it's a case of identifying it, either dealing with it or not dealing with it. but
Yeah.
but moving forward. So the massive thing to me, I live my life, which I've told you before, but I think it's interesting. I don't know whether we've recorded this on a podcast, is the serenity prayer. I never get tired of saying it. So it doesn't have to be God, because you can replace God with whatever your higher power is. So we'll
Mm-hmm.
speak about briefly in a minute. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So if you've done something in the past, you've got to look at it and go, right, what do I need to do about that? Will apologizing be enough? Will apologizing to that person be be, be the right thing to do? Will it be acceptable? Or going back to that person and dredging that back up from 25 years ago, where they've got on with their lives, it's not affecting them. Maybe it's playing a little bit heavy on my mind. If it is, reach out to them. Maybe write them a letter, send them an email, send them a text, send a message to a friend of theirs or a loved one, just to let them know that it's been playing on your mind and you're sorry. So that's that bit of it,
Yeah.
because that's been proven, mate, for generations, that apology, and we're back to honesty again. So being honest enough to say, I was wrong. I call that badly. I know it hurt you. I'm sorry. What you're doing is you're cleaning your side of the street.
Yeah.
So you're giving that away. You're saying to that person, I'm sorry. What they do with that is up to them. So a friend of ours who lives in the States, she's quite spiritual, and she says, um, our business, somebody else's business, or God's business, which is, I love that. I don't know if you've ever heard that.
Yeah. No,
So
no, that's good. Yeah.
so we've got to go, well, in my opinion, it's my bad. I've apologized. and I've taken steps to help the person understand maybe why I did it. What they do with that information is theirs, is their business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's huge. And that is so liberating to release that from you. What that's doing is that's trying to clear the blockages of maybe what's been stopping your path to move forward. So you may have come to a little bit of a dead end, or there might be a bump in the road. It's making that path a little bit smoother, because one thing I know for certain, if you dwell on that stuff and you keep dragging that back up, that's the stuff that's going to be the same as what we spoke about previously, that makes you go, oh, what's the point? I might as well just do this. I'll bury my head again.
Yeah. So I think, so what you're saying then is, and it comes from Stoic philosophy as well, doesn't it? Controlling what you can control. And what you're saying is you can only control your own thoughts, actions, and behaviors. So using the example you give, writing someone a letter, that's what you can control. You control your thoughts, your behaviors, your actions. Once you give that person that letter, or you've had that conversation with that individual, what they do with that information then is their thoughts, their actions, and their behaviors. That is not within your circle of control, is it?
No way.
Like you said, that's liberating to be, I've done what I can control. I can't control another person's thoughts, behaviors, actions. And that, like you said, that is, I can't think of the word to describe it, but it's almost like a weight lifting exercise in itself, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. But the thing is, and it's a big thing, to be honest, and it's a lifelong thing, because believe it or not, right after 14 and a half years of being clean and sober, I've still got a couple of things, tiny things from my past that I still need to fix. One of them's financial. So it was like 100 quid or 150 quid that I owed somebody that worked for me. I'm not sure where he is, but I've just remembered it now when we spoke about this. So I'm going to try and deal with that, because it plays on my mind, right? And the reason why we speak in coaching and in our recovery plan about trying to deal with that stuff, because that's only a small thing, but that I could fester on that, and that could build up.
Yeah.
So it's much better to not have that. So the fact that I've still got that in my mind after 14 and a half years proves how powerful that is. Fortunately for me today, I'm in a good enough place where that thought of owing that guy that money is not going to make me want to pick up a drink or a drug. But that might be different for somebody else. And the thing that they're blocking out might not be 100 quid or 150 quid he owes to somebody. It might be something a lot bigger than that. It might be something, far greater to try and deal with emotionally than that. And so again, it's been proven with numerous recovery programs, and they all seem to come back to trying to deal with the past. Do as much as you can to rectify it where you see fit, and then leave it. Just one of the I done a real powerful session where I wrote out all my wrongdoings in my opinion, and what lengths I'd gone to rectify them. And then when we'd done it, we burned the piece of paper.
Wow.
And that was like that. It's gone now. It's finished. Now, obviously,
sorry to interrupt you, mate. Did anything take you by surprise when you'd physically written them out on the board or whatever? Did anything?
Yeah, really emotional. It was a mega emotional exercise. That probably the toughest thing I've ever done in my life.
Right.
Because it was really soul searching, and again, it comes that word comes back, honesty, because we can all leave a few things out. And what that comes down to for me is trusting your coach, or trusting your mentor, or trusting your sponsor. And the way I would do that, I would just say, listen, pal, there's nothing you can tell me that is going to make me judge you. or is going to shock me, or nothing at all, you know. And you know, and there is some of mine. So I'll tell you some of mine,
Yeah.
and then you you create that safe space and that environment for people to feel as if they can share it. And
Yeah.
it's so emotional, so powerful. I've seen it happen so many times where you can almost see it leaving the person,
Yeah.
and that just all comes down to dealing with that. And it's makes a lot of these principles are straightforward. When you break them down, sometimes people like to overcomplicate them. When you
Hmm.
break them down to a logical system, um, it is quite straightforward. Don't get me wrong. Some people just aren't ready to do it, and if they're not ready to do it, unfortunately, that you know,
Yeah.
it's not a lot you can do about that. But if someone's willing to give themselves over to it and to surrender, then if they're shown it, like from people like us, and it's explained in the right manner, it's achievable.
Yeah, massive. I like what the way you ended that then with, and it plays to the way my mind works. Is I'm quite almost like analytical about things, so I've got like a real like almost engineering mindset. So I would use the language you use, like strategies, systems, all these, rather than like more esoteric language and more airy fairy language. I think it's massive, like, and not just talking about addiction here. I'm talking about living a healthy lifestyle and being the best version of yourself, as we've spoken about before, is having your systems in place, having your strategies in place, and systems to deal with just everyday life. So if you are dealing with a little bit of adversity in work or in your personal life, what systems have you got in place to deal with that? That can be anything from your diet, your sleep, your exercise, your relationships, and then like systems for just normal life when things are going quite well. You still need to have systems in place. Your foundation, your sleep, your hydration, your diet. I like the language you've just been using then, Martin, and I think that's the way I work. Systems,
Yeah.
strategies for everything.
Mm, definitely. And just not everybody will be wired like that, but
Yeah.
just find your way, find the thing that works for you, and find them little strategies, and that are personal to you as well, because we all know what makes us tick,
Hmm.
and so it's just a case of going, well, no, I'm not going to do that, and because that's going to result in that, I'm going to do this instead. But the power of what we can bring to the party is just identifying them little issues by listening, and by trying to understand as much as we can the person, and then saying, well, and then ask the question and go, well, what about this? Why
Yeah.
do you think that? What do you, do you think if you did this, what would that achieve? How does this make you feel? All that stuff that a good coach will do
Yeah.
is is planting them seeds in someone's head to go, oh my God, what was I thinking? Was I was I really thinking that 4 hours sleep was going to allow me to be the best I can be
Yeah.
on that day? What was I thinking at 3 o'clock in the morning when I was playing whatever, Fortnite or whatever it's called, and cracking open that sixth can of lager? What what made me think that was acceptable?
Yeah.
Did I not think that was going to affect my day the next day? So it, it's just that it's allowing people to clear the fog, you know,
Good analogy. Good analogy. Yeah.
and to just think a little bit, just see a little bit of clarity to have that mindset. And once you initiate that, it's unbelievable how things follow on, because you go, wow, he was right. Eight
Yeah.
hours sleep, you know, did feel good. I was a bit knackered when I woke up because I wasn't used to having that much sleep, and it took me a couple of hours to wake up. But when I had 8 hours the next night, I was, I felt miles better.
You're building credit in your bank account, aren't you? You're building credit in your sleep bank account.
Because of that, I was making better decisions because I was thinking, well, because I've done that, what else can I do? Well, do with drinking, more water. You need to drink more fluids. Yeah. And then a couple of weeks later, how my skin feels better, and I feel I've got a bit more energy. Well, I've got a bit more energy now, so I'll go and I'll get back to me doing me running because I feel like I could maybe have a little jog, and then bang, and then that's it, and that's gone from having 3 hours more sleep.
Yeah.
And that's how people turn corners, isn't it?
Yeah, it's massive, mate. Well, I really enjoyed these 4 brief, compared to the longer format one we did, brief conversations. I'm excited for them to go out and be put out in the community, and hopefully some of the clients you've been working with. Is there anything you want to add, Martin, before we finish?
No, I'm just really enjoyed what we've done, and I think the great thing about you and I, we could probably sit and do 20 of these today, 15 or 20 minutes, because we've got that, and I think it's important. I hope they're well received, and I'm excited about how we develop these, because we've got some really exciting projects coming up, haven't we? And
yeah,
I think there's a place for these, and I definitely will be directing clients and service users to these, because as we know the power of this online learning, and these short sort of circuit break podcasts, whatever you want to call them, are really powerful, and I don't take it for granted, and I appreciate what you've done.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Well, as always, Martin, I appreciate your time. Have a good day, and we'll speak to each other soon.
And you take care, pal. Bye, mate. Bye.